everybody, welcome back to Inspiring Beauty of Believers. I am Song, and we have a very special For the Love of Man for you today. Stay tuned.
Back again, he's done. Back again, he's done miracles. Back again, he's done miracles on me. Back again.
Thank you.
In 3, 2, go.
Welcome back to
6:35. Everybody was ready for you. Listen, welcome to Inspiring Beauty and Believers. I know this is Chantel's channel, but all these people here got the laughter ambiance so ambiotic that she can't start the show. So I'm gonna start the show. Today we got questions. And they're in a cookie jar. And the reason they're in a cookie jar is because somebody stole the cookies. And I'm not saying it was Marcus, but he don't even have cookies on his lap when we started this in the first place. Now, inside the cookie jar are a list of questions from all the other shows that she hosted that we participated in, but we didn't get to because we talked too much and we didn't get to the end of them. So this time we're going to revisit those questions in the cookie jar. Chantel, talk to your people.
His intro was great. We got Shannon, Demetrius, Courtney, King, Dr. Sam, and Marcus. And I'm Song. Sam, you got the first question.
All right, so the first one is myths women believe about men. This one is men are nice just to get sex. Who wants to tackle that?
Repeat the question.
It's a statement. It's a statement.
Yeah.
So myths that women believe about men. Men are nice just to have sex.
That's a generality.
Yeah.
Men are nice just to have sex. Sounds like men are nice only to have sex, which means we can't be nice outside of pursuing sex.
I think
Which I
that's
think
what
is a
they wrote.
blatant
I think that's
lie.
what whoever wrote this.
Yeah, that's a very sexist statement. I'll take straight offense.
I think it's pretty accurate.
You're supposed to lie. I was first.
I think it's pretty accurate because we are sexual beings, but we're not nice, like Courtney said, just because of sex. But to be 100% honest, men are being groomed by women to not even be nice. Because nice usually doesn't get you sex.
Bro,
It gets you disrespected, overlooked, taken advantage of, and considered a simp, weak, or all of the above that fall into that category.
Hey, real talk.
I like him.
Real talk. I was literally told not to be a nice guy. That's by the person raised me. Which was very interesting because I was a nice guy growing up. But then after years of doing stuff, I was like, I'm just a person. I ain't worried about being nice. I'm just worried about handling business. And when I came to a point where I just stopped caring, you start chasing me down. It's wild, but it's the truth.
Absolutely true.
Maybe it's sad, but it's true.
I was a virgin until I was almost 20 by choice. The more girls I told I was a virgin, the more girls I had to beat off with a stick. Like, leave me. Like the fact that I did not want them that way made them want them. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Similar, like I was a virgin until 19, but what I've learned in that, because I grew up wanting to be like a hopeless romantic. I thought women were like, I wrote poetry. I was like, I was like, this is it. Like I'm listening to R&B and I'm listening to R&B like, this is how that in a poem. Like, that's it. I got into college and girls was like, what's that for? You or not? And I was like, all right, well, I mean, the girls that I was bringing flowers to were like, oh, you're such a nice guy. You're like we're so close. I don't know. And they were like not wanting to get knocked down. And the girls that I wasn't even paying attention to were in my DMs and my inbox like, yo, you coming through tonight? I was like,
Who are you?
Skip this. Like, my wife might get blessed with this one day. Right now,
We in pre-season.
I'm a shooting guard.
Pass.
Just that flow. The whole little hopeless romantic thing.
Mhm.
Like, I identify with that. Like,
Likewise. Oh, yeah.
you know?
Yo.
Oh, no.
Now, listen, but think about this though. I talked about this on Turn Tuesday. What is it? 95% of really good R&B songs are sung by men because we're already in the capacity of wanting to profess our love, right? Like that's just a natural state. But now women have gotten so, I won't say masculine, but so disconnected to divine femininity that it's not even required anymore. Like they don't want it. And so you go, well, what's the point of being a romance? You going to the nigga that's treating you like trash. Why would I?
My dude.
I've shown up on first dates with flowers and girls are like, why?
He be like, don't worry about it.
Oh,
Don't worry about it.
Race me for the door. Literally reach.
Yo,
Like, what are you doing? I can get my own door. Like,
yo, I had this.
you can't get your own.
I'm on a date.
you just signed up. You just signed the rest of the day.
Bro, really?
I'm on a date with this girl, and she's walking on the street side as soon as we come out, and I just put my hand on her hip, and and she's like, I can walk wherever I want. I said, with any other nigga you can. She's like, I'm independent. I can take care of myself. I go, until you can't. Because if you ever actually needed a man to hold space for you, now you're so independent that he can't, and that's not his job, then what do you need men for? And she was like, well, you don't get it. I go, no, you just don't understand.
get it.
I'm gonna happily take your ass home. Like, I'm good. I'm good. I'm not gonna fight with you to do things that I was actually raised by my grandmother and my grandfather to believe this is a man's job, right? Like, I'm gonna open your door. I'm gonna show up with flowers. I'm gonna put you on the inside when we walk on the street. Like, those things that's what a man does. But you're so independent that you don't need it. You go find some bootleg nigga that you're gonna end up taking care of.
I didn't have to tell chicks before, like, allow me to be a man. Stop trying. This is what I do. And if this ain't what you're comfortable with, then then that's something else that we can figure out. But allow me to be a man, and this is what a man is and what I'm doing. I don't know who you've been dating. I done said this a couple of times. I don't know who some of these women are dating, like with those type of questions, like, who you talking to?
Well, I think that's a good segue to the next question, which is, what is your definition of providing for the family?
I'm in with this one. So I feel there's levels to it and different facets of it. Definitely spiritually, just want to guide your family spiritually. Definitely want to make sure you look out for them emotionally. Want to make sure physically they're sound and okay and protected. And I also feel financially, I know things have changed, and that's up to each person how they want to do it. But financially, at least contribute. Don't be laying on your ass playing the game all day and don't help out. You know what I'm saying? Like, if y'all agree to half and half, that's cool. Or if you provide all of it, not going to debate that you just can't not do on either end. You know what I'm saying? So those ones I'll start and I'll leave it out to my brothers to continue on others.
I agree with you though. The ability to provide, like the male role is really simple in this dynamic. Like, there's the 3 P's: provide, protect, and profess. Right? Like, and we gotta be able to do those things. But being able to provide means, like, I can put a roof over your head. I can get groceries because I give you groceries, you turn it into dinner, right? Like, it's a give and take. It's a dynamic that's natural. But being able to provide, there's this skewed philosophy that I keep seeing come up all day, a lot on social media, but then out of women's mouths, where they're like, well, I can provide for myself, or you can't pay my bills, you can't be with me. Like, first off, the only people who will live under my house and not contribute will be my children and my pets. That's it.
And
Right, but we get to have
You definitely on guard duty. All
Right.
right.
You got my eyes and ears to the streets at all times, bro.
But when it comes to the male's ability to provide, like, you got to be able to put a roof over your family's head. Now, if your wife or your partner out-earns you, I mean, I'm the type of man, I don't give a damn. If I make $250,000 a year and my baby makes $750,000 a year, here's the house that I can provide. oh, you gonna chip in? This is the house that we can run.
Yeah.
But I know that at the end of the day, if I gotta put my whole paycheck to putting a roof over our head, then I can do that. Right? Like you can enhance it, but I know I can do that.
Exactly.
Right? Those are the little things that we can take home.
Big facts.
I like the emotional part that you get on. I think that's a big, I think it gets neglected.
Very much.
I think from a man's point of view, if we allow society to shape our outlook on how we should be leading our families, that part gets left out. You know what I'm saying? Well, we teach emotions, we just don't teach how to properly process them and utilize them to motivate us versus, allowing our emotions to confirm how we feel or using our emotions to drive our feelings. Like there's two different things, right? My son is 7, he's very emotional. So he allows his emotions to drive his behavior versus allowing his emotions to confirm how he already feels. And so I'm trying to reel him into a sense where it's okay to be disappointed, but every disappointment doesn't require tears in a 5-minute, we can't move until you get yourself together.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And some of that, my youngest boy is 4, is in boxing. I love it because he thinks he can just get away with anything. So I told the 10-year-old that was boxing, when he come in with his hands down, pop his forehead. He came in, got his forehead popped, immediately got mad, started going wild. The 10-year-old can take it. And then my son starts crying, but now he's crying with his hands up the whole time. You understand? And that's what I want my 7-year-old to even learn. I'm just teaching the 4-year-old through boxing is that you can take a hit and emotionally respond to it as long as you continue moving forward.
Yeah.
Things can't just shut down. And so I think as fathers, we kind of have to help our children set the temperature of their emotions and say it's okay for you to have emotions. They're a part of your human walk on this earth. And they can be strong, and there's nothing wrong with that too, but you need to learn how to function within them, and especially without allowing them to dictate how you treat other people.
Facts.
And control it.
Absolutely.
Facts.
But this is also the shift in the dynamic and the climate of the household and the relationship of fathers is being present to have these conversations.
Absolutely.
But also doing work on yourself that you
Yep.
heal your past. Because so
Absolutely.
many people didn't come from father-son dynamics that gave them that. Like we're from a generation where it was like, suck it up.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Well, big boys don't cry.
Yeah.
You crying, I'll give you something to cry for, right? Like those were the mindsets. And so now to go, wait, that didn't serve me. How can I now reverse engineer this process so that my child can grow up in a healthy space and I can guide him through this? Because your emotions, like you said, they're not the problem,
Yep.
No.
right? It's just how you respond to
There you
them
go.
could be the problem. If I teach you the right way to respond to it, it's just everything.
And those of us who grew up with just our mothers were doing what they thought was the best that they could do to raise boys into men. Hey, suck that up. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Sometimes it's worse.
you know what I'm saying? And so I think they honestly, they meant well, but they just didn't know, okay, how do I allow him to have his emotion without growing up to be a punk?
Yeah.
And I don't know the balance, therefore suck it up. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying?
It's that balance between hardening enough, but still keeping that softness in it.
Right.
It's a balance. I literally, when I was in the military, like I didn't really know because I was young and everything else. And I was like leading 13 to 35 people at one time. I'm like 19, 20 years old. I had to learn fast. But you start watching people and you see that dynamic when it comes to like young men, like some of them, like their emotions just out of control.
Yeah.
So you have to figure out how to like reel them in and get them, okay, I need the emotion you got, but I need it controlled in this ball
Yeah.
until you need to release it. Because you don't need to release it everywhere.
Right.
But when I aim you,
Absolutely.
release it in that direction.
Yeah, with everything you got.
Got it, sorry. Cool. Let's get this now.
Yeah.
Like, and those people were the people that like at first they're crazy, they're all over the place. They're there, but they're just all over the place. Once you start aiming people, getting your stuff in line, all that stuff, those are people that do everything for you. They'll have it done. They have no problem with it. They'll literally flip this world in half just to make sure that they did what you asked them to.
Absolutely.
You know, and they'll do it in a controlled manner. You know, it's just wild when you see it.
And I think I just want to add, well, the part that's missing, what Courtney touched on is he said, we teach emotion, but we don't. We're starting to teach emotion. What we teach is you can be angry and that's acceptable. And you can be happy and that's acceptable. But we don't teach, like, if you are sad, how do I control that? How do I channel that? We don't teach, how can I have empathy? How can I hold space for somebody else to be upset or to express their feelings, right? A lot of the times when people express their feelings, then it's like defensiveness, or they take it as someone's trying to change you. And it's like, I I just want to share how I feel so that everyone understands. So like we're shifting or we're trying to shift how we actually teach emotion, more than just you can be angry or you can be happy.
No, agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the next question is from the myths women believe about men. Men can't be friends with women now.
That question ain't finished, or statement ain't finished.
This is what they said.
Okay,
That's
so there's different facets to that.
what- just pretend like that was not there. Men can't be friends.
Okay, so, all right, so I'm gonna say from this aspect, there's a few different things for me. Because women saying that probably from the base point without having sex. You know what I'm saying? And there's been people I've seen who've had sex and had a better relationship after and been friends and nothing about it. I've seen people who, it just depends what the aspect is. If you're in a relationship, then there's just so many different facets to that. But right now, I do believe people, men and women, could have healthy relationships if you just know what the goal is. At the end of the day, if nobody has no hidden agenda behind the scenes, and that's where the problem be. Somebody's always, or somebody's not being upfront. You meet a representative to the aspect of who that person is. They're saying they want to be friends, but in the back of their mind, they want to have a relationship. So it's like everybody got to keep it 100 from the beginning, and then you could have a healthy relationship if you're not meeting that representative.
I think it probably came from the same person who was the first one that does sex.
So-
Yeah, men only are nice to you to have sex. I think.
Yeah, there's a lot of people, but in this, I'm guessing these questions came from these.
Yeah, that's certainly.
There's a lot of women that are using their hurt to judge their present and their future. And I go, you don't want to use a broken ruler to measure what God is trying to do in your life. Because what someone did, so having, if you were in a relationship where you're talking to a guy and he's got a best female friend, well, that is an opportunity for you guys to have a conversation on the capacity of that relationship. Because now if his female friend takes priority over you, that's where it's an issue. Right? But if you don't ever communicate that, then he doesn't know that. And he's like, oh, that's just my ace. But if they're smashing or not, like you just get to have open communication and not come from the space of, well, my man can't have no girlfriends. Well, any real man can be like, excuse you? Right? Like you're gonna just tell me what to do? But if we have an honest conversation, any real man is gonna go, oh, it's uncomfortable for you that to not know the dynamic of this friendship, to not be included in this friendship, to not have access to this friendship. That's different, and that's what you can adjust to. But just to be like, guys and girls can't be friends. Yeah, that's not true.
And literally, when you talk about that adjustment period, when you have that conversation of, oh, you know, you feel uncomfortable. Okay, cool beans. That provides you an opportunity to have a conversation and to have an open, honest conversation about how you feel about this. Why do you feel that way? What are the things that I do or that you think I might be doing or that person does or that you think they might be doing that literally makes you feel that way? Or is this just some past hurt that you have because you were with a dude, he didn't tell you that he told you this was a friend, but he ended up having sex with them or whatever? Like, where did this come from? Instead of just, this is what we have, okay, cool, let's blow up the spot, no female friends, blah, 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 whatever. No, let's have a conversation about it. Let's talk about it. Let's get it out in the open so you can heal and I can understand how I can help you.
Something I don't think a lot of women understand as well is that you want your man to have healthy female connections outside of you, because sometimes they're the voice of reason for, let me speak for myself. Any relationship that I've been in, if I still have female friends, like they know the rules and the boundaries of like, yo, don't be blowing up my phone at after 10 o'clock at night, right? Like there's no need for you to just be showing up. You can't just be at the crib and she doesn't know, right? Like there's just boundaries. And if they're really your friend, they're willing to abide by those boundaries because they respect your relationship. But there's also just a necessity to be open and honest. That's something Jay and I were talking about on the way over here. People aren't honest. Like, don't, like, yo, if this is my homegirl and like, you my girl, I'm sitting here and I'm like, oh yeah, by the way, like, I have slept with her before. How do you feel about that?
Right.
Like, let's be 100. Because a woman's intuition is going to have her sitting there feeling real uneasy. Like, yo, they kind of like, are they close because they done did it? Or am I just in my way? No, I don't want you questioning your intuition. Let's just talk about it. So now you know. And if I tell you that I didn't hit and that's just my ace because I have somebody that I can confide in, because sometimes I don't understand women at all. So I have good women in my life that I want to be able to talk to and be like, yo, am I tripping? Or like, is this something like, And now not taking my relationship to somebody who's outside of it, but having a confidant that I can express just general philosophy to understand the female perspective, because I'll be real, like just because you're my woman doesn't mean that you're always gonna hear me. And that's hard for men to grasp. Like you will not always hear me. And I'm not gonna go run to my mom because she's also from a different generation. And I don't want my mom looking at my girl completely different. Like I can't believe she's, and I don't think people get that either. Like, so if I have a female friend, I'm like, yo, I need you to give me a general idea on something, it's different.
That takes maturity, though.
Yeah.
That takes maturity. And then also on the other side, I know we gotta change it, but it takes maturity, and then it also takes, as far as the woman, being vulnerable and saying, yes, I was hurt in the past, or saying that, you know, I don't feel comfortable, because women are like, oh, I don't care about her. She don't, but realistically, it matters. You can see, this bothers you. No, it doesn't. Yeah, babe, it actually does. I can see your whole demeanor change when she walk in the room. It bothers you. Just tell me what it is. Let's talk it out. You know, so, but like I said, it takes maturity and wanting to grow together. So you want to do that.
So these are one of my long-winded questions.
Before you read it, how many questions are in your one question?
I don't know.
How many question marks are on that?
She like,
So I see
She be like, have you ever done this? And if so, was it this? And while you were thinking about it, did you ever consider
all the other ones had big print. This one got little print.
got that fine print.
She went from
Okay, so we'll break it up then.
All right, thank you. See, like, the answer. No, it's okay. Read the whole thing, and then we'll start it in pieces. Read the whole thing. So that way we had a context in your real question.
Okay, so it's 5 minutes per
part.
Oh, send it to
We'll
10
put on
minutes to
10
answer
for
the
this
whole
question.
question.
Okay, let's go.
Oh, this 2 questions.
Oh.
It's ready.
That's ready.
Okay.
That's ready.
That's man.
All right. So what didn't you receive as a child from a parent and or parents that you feel could have helped you navigate your adult relationships?
That's the whole thing?
Yes. And the example I put is your space to process feelings.
So repeat it again, please.
So what didn't you receive as a child from your parents and or parents that you feel could have helped you navigate your adult relationships? So you're answering like, what didn't you receive? And then not receiving that, how has that affected your adult relationships?
Anybody? Because actually, I had this conversation with somebody else today based upon my relationship as far as not having my father at all, and then having my mom sometimes. And one of the things I was saying was that basically for us not having our mom all the time, we had to process the feelings of why is it that somebody doesn't want us? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, and if it takes so long in life for you to understand this, you're messing up so many relationships, even relationships with women. Because my trust issues first started with my mom. You know what I'm saying? If I can't trust her, how am I gonna trust anybody else? You know what I'm saying? And then first love, bam, another one. So it just compiles until you get that healing. But when you're sitting here and you're told, as MJ was saying, is that that you got to compress your feelings, it becomes unproductive. And so the way that I used to do it is I process through fighting. You know what I'm saying? And I was talking to somebody like, that's never productive. That's not a productive way to process your feelings. But if you never let it out and you keep suppressing it, eventually it's like putting a Mentos in a soda bottle. Like it's just going to explode at some point in some life. So you don't be like me, but yet it's still process this early enough. So if you need to have a conversation and talk to this person, you'll find out that your perception of the situation is not always as it is. And to also clarify, it wasn't the best situation, because I would have been one of the ones who joined the put a gun to a man club, you know, if I was with my mom. Because I remember one time she was with one dude and he was literally beating her up. And I'm sitting there like, I'm trying to get in there. So I'm thinking about how to stab him in his neck to protect my mom. You know what I'm saying? But I'm like, we driving on baseline. I'm like, bro, in Cali. And I'm like, it's busy. I'm like, we're gonna all die. So I gotta figure out a new way to do it.
Just crash this morning.
Just this one person.
No, here we go. I got this.
Let this barrier go down. I promise you. Yo,
Don't tense up. You
Right. Keep your muscles relaxed.
You know, more nervous. Because that's the unfruitfulness, because you're bottlenecking all this information. And so it took me till I was 35 to have a conversation with my mom to find out it wasn't that she didn't want me. And when I started really going back to the times I was in a hotel and the different places with Shani's father and being at the table, babysitting ourselves and stuff like that, like with her and you have an older brother?
He's technically not my brother. He
Okay,
just-
well him, he was at the table with us. I was young, I remember him. I remember all your daddies, so it's like literally.
Did you say all my daddies?
That's exactly what you said.
What?
And we need a whole other session.
I don't want to trigger her. Anywho,
I just get my DNA.
Next episode.
outside of daddies that we all
I caught it, but I was like, does anybody want to say that?
if it ain't all your daddies, it's all your uncles. Like,
All the uncles.
all the uncles, like you ain't.
All them ninjas.
Then you grow up and find out they're not your uncles. Like for real.
Thanks. So, you know what I'm saying? Just being real, just really being honest. I was like, if you could learn how to process it and give it back to the next generation, because ultimately the goal is to let them know, like, it's okay to express yourself to an adult respectfully. To let them know, like, I need time. Like, you know what I'm saying? I deserve this. You need to value me as a, you know what I'm saying, as an individual. You know what I'm saying? Because never having my father, like me and MJ was talking about, it was either my uncles, my grandfather, Cliff Huxtable and Uncle Phil. Yeah, them was the ones like you like, all right, I gotta pull for some kind of positive role models, you know what I'm saying, out of this, because everybody's not gonna be perfect. They did the best that they could on what information they had. But as we keep progressing along, our goal is not to retract back to where we was at. So that was a conversation I had with somebody today.
Subscribe so you don't miss next week's video.
Having never had a proper, and then even none of my uncles, like my aunties and uncles were divorced, you know what I'm saying? And those who were, you know, I ain't trying to put my uncles out there, but you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of outside children. I got, you know, cousins that don't really look alike, you know what I'm saying? So, I just never really had the proper example. And so I think the hopeless romantic in me was like, I'm gonna do it right. But I still didn't have an example of what right looked like. I just knew what not to do, you know what I'm saying? Like, it can't work that way, so just don't do that, and you go to a good start, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like that was the major thing that I feel like I was lacking that would have helped a lot.